In the last episode of Zero Labs Ham Shack, I completed the tube socket for the GI-7B to go into the SB-230. Next step is to start hacking away at the chassis of the SB-230 and start installing the socket. So let me apologize in advance. I won't be using the nice camcorder that I'm recording my beautiful face on right now to show you the process of the upgrade or the hacking away at the chassis. I do have an overhead camera up here that I use for web streaming, and it overlooks the bench. So I'm going to be using that to record most of this portion of the video. I will at least try to give you 720p for resolution, and please accept my apologies again if it doesn't meet your standards. Okay, so this is the subject, and this is the tube socket that needs to go. This needs to go in, and this spot on the back of the chassis needs to grow so that I can include the beryllium oxide block, or mount it higher onto the heatsink. All right, so I've run into my first, what I would call, real hiccup of this project. If you look at this bottom section that needs to go underneath the chassis, the original one that I started out with was 2 1/4 on each side, and when I roughed out the second generation of this tube socket, I took a guess and said 2 inches by 2 inches. Even that's a little bit too big. If you look at this photo right here, you'll see that the bottom of the tube socket does not sit flush with the bottom of the chassis, because the stud that supports the load resistors on the input side of the linear amplifier of the coaxial connector interferes with the PC board. The PC board is too long to wedge down in there, so I have to shave off about maybe a 1/16 of an inch all the way around, maybe a little bit more. I should be okay with the top board. I should not need to shave off anything from the top side, but the bottom I definitely do. And I looked at my original photographs, and I did notice that the heads of the screws were very close to the corners of the board. So my hole spacing is still 1.5 inches in all directions, but they will end up being about 1/8 of an inch from the edge of the board all the way around. All right, so these lines that I've drawn right here indicate how much additional I need to remove from this board in order to get it to fit underneath the chassis. The finished dimension of the lower board section will be 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. It's actually a little bit oversized. It's not exactly 2 inches. It's more like 2 1/32 in all directions. So I overshot it just a little bit, and I want to put this on my bandsaw, but I have an elevated surface here that's not going to sit flat on the bandsaw table. So I took my little Forstner bit and I made a flat hole in this piece of wood that the lip of the cathode can sit in, like so, and then I can just run it through the blade sitting on the piece of wood. This is one of the reasons I can't imagine not having a set of Forstner bits in my collection, and if you don't, you should buy some. You won't regret it. All right, so I did end up making the cutout hole a little bit too large, and I had to squeeze the location of the 4 corner screws, center them properly in this opening to get the drill to go through. So, note to self: don't make your holes 1 3/4. Make them 1.5 inches, and center them towards the back of the chassis when you do it. But I'll be okay. But it got a little hairy there for a moment. But I'm now at the point where I can put my screws through. And I think secure the socket into place. Let's see how this fits. Looks good from the bottom. Looks good from the top. Oh baby.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There's the tube. There's the socket. Bada bing, bada boom. That's it for another edition of Zero's Ham Shack. And the tube socket is installed, as you can see here. The installation came out beautifully. I'm very, very happy with it. The next step is to take the heatsink off the back of the chassis and open up the window for the beryllium oxide insulator, because I have to mount it up higher than the original tube was. And then I have to machine the heatsink. I have to cut out sections of heatsink fins to drill new holes that are up higher than the original holes to align with the clamps where they need to be for the new tube. Last time, that took hours. And I was doing it with my Dremel and my little milling bit, and it was a pain in the butt. But I have a floor refinishing project coming up because we bought new furniture and I have to get the hardwood floors refinished before the new furniture shows up. And I ordered myself a oscillating multi-tool to do sanding in tight places on my hardwood floors, and some diamond blades for it that are going to make the job of cutting the little fins out of the heatsink that I need breeze, hopefully. Fingers crossed. We'll see how that works out. But I did order it well more in advance than I would have if I wasn't doing this project. But since I need the tool anyway, really good excuse to buy a new tool, right? Because I don't have enough tools. Anyhow, yeah. So there's that, and then we can get down to the wiring. I have all of my schematic diagrams printed up and marked up with the highlighter so that I know exactly what needs to be done. I got all my old pictures to work by. This should go quite a bit faster than the last one. However, I am finding some bad solder joints in here, and I mean really bad solder joints in really critical places. So I'm gonna have to go through the whole damn thing and check every single solder joint now. Oh well, it is what it is. Anyhow, that's it from the lab. Thanks all for joining me. As always, please rate, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button. And peace, everyone.